Hey, so this is Wayne, and we are running a National Service Provider call, or an NSP. That stands, like you said, for National Service Provider. So basically, they're companies that service big box stores or chain locations. The managers, they don't really want the managers or anybody that's associated with security interacting with the service provider directly, because that could be a conflict of interest. The manager could pay off the locksmith for extra keys or safe combinations or something like that after they get fired. So it's kind of a loss prevention thing, and it's also kind of a liability thing too. If you have it go through two different companies, then I think, and I'm not an attorney, this is not legal advice at all, but there's a benefit to having the additional coverage, because that national service provider, if there's a problem, could be held liable, and so could the tech, in my opinion. So that's kind of where you get that from. But yeah, like if you want to get some of these bigger calls, you want to be on their preferred vendor list. That is the key terminology, and that's some business coaching stuff there. You want to be the preferred vendor for your area, and when you're the preferred vendor for your area, that means that you get the first right of refusal for each call. So if you are like all the companies that they service, and they usually, like one company kind of does auto parts stores, and one does coffee shops, and one does big box stores, and things like that. If there's a problem at any of those locations that your skill set or your company solves, that's when you're going to get that call. So it can be lucrative. I've charged thousands and thousands of dollars. We probably do about $50,000 a year or so with national service providers. So when done properly, they can be profitable. But the counter portion of that is you have so much paperwork and so many hoops to jump through and so much red tape that a lot of people find that they're not worth dealing with. So my rule, and this is back to business coaching here, my number one rule is I always have, anytime it's a first interaction, I always make them pay with a credit card upon completion. And you have to get that in writing before you accept the call. Otherwise, they'll sneak out of it. So I tell them, hey, the first one we do, I'll accept your 30-day or 45-day or 90-day net terms or whatever it is after the fact, if I want to. Usually I won't accept anything over 45 days. I just think that's ridiculous. If you can't pay your bill within 45 days, then we don't need to do business. But they really need that, and they want you to be on their payment system. But the first time, always credit card up front or credit card upon completion, agreed upon in writing, in an email, because it's not going to matter if you just talked about it, right? Word of mouth doesn't play out in court or hold them accountable. So that's my take on it there. You can make money with NSPs. Like I said, add 50, 60 grand a year to your total yearly income. Pretty sweet, but you do have to do it correctly, and you do have to do it in a certain way. Otherwise, you'll find that you keep getting burned by these places because you didn't get a signature like you were supposed to, or you didn't call into the IVR system. And I always charge these companies a lot more than my regular calls. Why do I do that? Well, the number one reason is I have to be able to jump through more hoops, and my office personnel, my bookkeeper and my operations manager, is going to have to jump through more hoops, because they keep having to remind these people to pay their bills, because they're always looking for technicalities to get out of paying their bill or delaying payment. Therefore, because I know I have that extra administrative cost and just the overall headache and hassle of waiting for payment for so long, that I specifically make sure that those calls are usually $100 to $200 more than a standard call, just to deal with the headache and the nonsense that you got to deal with it. So look into national service providers. If done correctly, you can make money with them. You just have to have extremely rigid rules and standards, and you have to stick by your own standards, and do not let these companies push you around and try and tell you what to do and that you have to work on their terms, because you do not. they can call somebody else. If they don't agree to your terms, they can call somebody else. So just take that into account, and if you decide to work with national service providers, that's my take on it. So thanks for listening, and have a great day out there.
This portion of the documentary is brought to you by Frontline Defense Systems, Frontline Defense Systems, INC.